Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is presented in high definition by Sony. HD, it's in our DNA.
The Twins have peaked at an opportune time. They've reeled off 10 wins in their last 11 and have pulled right back into the heat of the Central race. With the former MVP out for the season, the offense has been picked up by a balanced attack. And the pitching has been the best it's been all season long. Tonight, Gardy and the gang look to keep it rolling. Twins Royals next. Minnesota hits the field tonight, playing their best baseball of the season, having won 10 of their last 11. 4 straight on this road trip. And tonight, they will face left-hander Lenny DiNardo. Our Menards batting order for Minnesota: Denard Span back in the leadoff spot, Orlando Cabrera, Joe Mauer, Jason Kubel. Michael Kadire will hit fifth. Delman Young has had an outstanding month, .328 for Minnesota. Had a couple of hits in last night's game. Brendan Harris is the designated hitter tonight. Matt Tolbert and Nick Puto round out the lineup against the lefty Lenny DiNardo.
Well, DiNardo making his 4th start of the year for the Kansas City Royals. He spent the season down in Omaha. He ended up being the pitcher of the
Breaking ball strike as Cabrera showed bunt. Joe Mauer waiting on deck. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Minnesota shortstop Orlando Cabrera. Runner goes and a bouncing ball foul past third base. So Span running on the 3-2 pitch. Well, you know you're in the fall of the year, Ryan. You think back to the midsummer 6 o'clock starts. There's sunshine all over the field, shadows, and the sun now just barely hitting where the scoreboard is. Runner goes, ground ball second, out on the tag, throw back to first, double play. Well done by Cayasco. So even though Span was running, the Royals are able to turn 2 as Cayasco was right in front of that ground ball off the bat of Cabrera. And all he had to do was pick up the ground ball, tag Span, who went speeding past him, and then back to first for the double play. So the Twins sending the runner, trying to avoid a double play. The Royals able to turn it, and now Joe Mauer, the league's leading hitter. Benny DiNardo throws a strike. Mauer hitting .370 with 28 home runs. It will be very difficult now for Mauer not to win the batting title. Change up is low and inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He would have to have an enormous slump, and I don't think Joe Mauer has enormous slumps.
No.
I think his slump is 1 for 5.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. And he strokes one foul and out of play down the left field line. Dick Stelmazik is the Minnesota bullpen coach, and he's been quoted as saying Mauer sees the ball longer than any hitter in baseball. He has a nice, fluid, short, compact swing, so he doesn't have to commit early. Thus, he sees the ball longer. And a high fly ball down the left field line. Meyer, the left fielder, coming hard, and no play.
I went and talked to him yesterday, and I asked him a hitting question, and I tried to make it somewhat original because you got to imagine he gets those questions all the time. But I asked him, is there anything consistent from what you did in high school to what you're doing in the big leagues? Because hitting gets so scientific. And he kind of shrugged his shoulders and said, well, I don't know, just try and have good balance and find a good pitch to hit. And it was more of a question than it was a statement. But for some guys, it's just very simple.
Yep. A little tap to second, charging hard Cayasco, short throw to first in time. So the double play turned the inning around. We go to the bottom of the first. No score.
You're a guy, but
First pitch to Willie Bloomquist, and a strike on the outside corner. Scott Baker's normal pattern, he'll try to work the left-handed hitters inside, and then he will try to work the right-handed hitters basically away, which he does to Bloomquist, and really lines it hard into right field, so both teams get a leadoff single. So Bloomquist, very adept at going to the opposite field, reaching out for that fastball and driving it into right. That brings up Mitch Meyer. Mitch hitting .253 with 3 home runs and 27 driven in. Baker making start number 31. This would be the 107th start of his big league career. And the pitch right in there, strike one. Lost his last start. That was on the 20th against Detroit. Scott went just 4 2/3, gave up 4 runs, 8 hits, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. It's pretty stingy with the walks, similar to Pavano last night. Not quite as adept as Pavano, but he basically is a strike thrower. This delivery is low and outside. And 1 ball, 1 strike. Baker has been good against the Royals. 2-1 in 5 starts. Very good ERA, 2.84. Willie Bloomquist, 23 stolen bases. Pretty good lead. Baker fairly quick to first. There goes the runner, and a line drive into left. That's a hit, but Bloomquist will have to stop at second. Mitch Meyer hit a looper, a soft looping liner into left field, and the Royals have 2 on with nobody out. And here's Billy Butler. What a night last night for Butler. 4 out of 5. 2 home runs. 4 RBIs. For Billy Butler, that was his 4th career 2-homer game. 3 times now this year, he's struck 3 home runs in 1 contest. Twins now look for a double play. Baker's pitch. Outside corner, strike 1. Scott Baker really doesn't have one overpowering pitch. Say he mixes his fastball with his curve, with his change, with his slider. Moves the ball around. In comes the pitch, and it's fouled off. But when he's on, he really does a good job of mixing his pitches, keeping the hitters off stride.
3rd season. This is a franchise-type player. He continues the way that he has been going the last couple of years. Very good contact-type hitter. Shoots a lot of balls the other way. Uses the whole field.
Driven in 91 this year for Kansas City. Here's the 0-2. Foul down the right field line. Last night he was the source of most of the Kansas City offense.
Well, all the 4 runs scored because of Billy Butler. Right there, a home run straightaway center off of Carl Pavano, and then later a 3-run home run off of Pavano. And the Twins won that game 9-4. He didn't play last night. They win 9-0.
His 3-run home run, the reason why the Royals were in the game. It looked like Minnesota was in control with a 6-1 lead. Swing and a miss. Off-speed pitch, and Baker got him on strikes.
I tell you what, he missed his pitch. The prior pitch was a curveball that stayed up, and Butler fouled it off. Right there, that's more the slider, the little cutter that Baker ends up getting him the swing at. And a big strikeout for Scott Baker, the first out of the inning.
Now Mike Jacobs will hit. Left-handed hitter with 18 home runs this year. Breakout year last year with Florida when he hit 32 and drove in 93 runs. sharply hit right at Kadire. Got him at second base. The double play ends the inning. And the Twins avoid damage in the bottom of the first. No score after one in Kansas City.
So he didn't try and muscle up. He didn't try and pull it. Stayed with his same swing. Went to the. How many guys hit an opposite field home run on 3-0?
Good point. 1-2 pitch is a fastball in tight. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I can think of a lot of guys that pop up to shortstop or hit a routine fly ball on 3-0 because they try and muscle up and pull the ball.
2-2 pitch. Hammered to center. That's well struck. Anderson going back, and he one-hands it and then hits the deck. Josh Anderson made the catch, and then he ended up sliding head first. But that was not a part of the catch when he went to the ground. But good running catch by Josh Anderson to take extra bases away from Kubel. And up comes Michael Kadire. Kadire hitting .278, 30 home runs, 88 RBI.
And Kadire hits for the Twins. 30th home run last night. First time in his career he's hit the 30 home run plateau. Hit 6 home runs against Kansas City this year.
Yeah, he's the 11th Twin player to wear a Twins uniform to hit 30 home runs in a ball game. Or excuse me, a season. Last one to do it, of course, Justin Morneau. Armin Killebrew did it 8 times. Bob Allison a couple times. Jimmy Hall once. Tony Oliva once. Tom Bernansky a couple times. Gary Gaetti a couple times. Puckett once. Herbeck once. Torrey Hunter once. And Justin 3 times. And now Michael Kadire in that group.
Tap to the left side. Gordon charges. and throws him out. This week, Fox NFL Sunday returns as the 49ers head to Minnesota to take on Brett Favre and the Vikings. Coverage begins Sunday with America's #1 pregame show at 11 o'clock Central Time. Delvin Young hits with 2 out, nobody on for Minnesota. Delvin hit a long home run last night, his 9th of the year. He also had a triple.
After Delvin, his 2nd triple of the year, his 9th home run. He is 3 for 4 against DiNardo. He has the best numbers against DiNardo. Again, not a lot of at-bats for these Twins batters against the left-hander. Delvin 7 hits in his last 13 at-bats.
Fouled on the third baseline. The average up to 275 for Delvin, and has shown, at least from time to time here in the second half, some of the power the Twins have been hoping he would develop.
Well, he's getting some playing time. You know, that platoon system kind of put Gomez and Young a lot of times on the bench.
Gordon with the backhand, long throw. The tag at first base retires Young. The Twins go in order in the second, and we're still scoreless.
Welcome back to Twins Baseball on Fox Sports North. I'm Robbie Smikowski. It's been a disappointing year for the Kansas City Royals. However, they do have one major bright spot, and that is Zach Greinke, who is a finalist, has to be a finalist, for the American League Cy Young Award. And look at the competition and how it stacks up. Felix Hernandez with 17 wins from the Seattle Mariners, CC Sabathia, Roy Halladay, Justin Verlander. Greinke has 15 wins on the team that has a total of 63 as a team. His contributions have been undeniable this season. Unfortunately for the Twins, they will have to face Zach Greinke tomorrow and then again next weekend as the Twins close the regular season and the Metrodome. Burt Blyleven, who is your candidate this season, or excuse me, your winner for the American League Cy Young Award?
Wow, yeah, you have some great names up there, but I do personally like Zach Greinke. I voted for him the other day in the Baseball Alumni Association voting that the ballots were out. I like Greinke. I like the 2.08 ERA. You know, 15 wins here in Kansas City. There's a lot of times, I mean, this guy just didn't get a lot of run support.
Twins will see their share of those candidates. Greinke tomorrow, and again Friday. They'll also see Verlander Tuesday in Detroit. Justin Verlander leads the league in strikeouts with 256. Into right field, well hit, Kubel back, and it is off the top of the wall and gone. A home run for Alberto Callaspo, and the Royals have a 1-0 lead.
Well, I don't know if that ball hit the railing and then flew into the Royals bullpen. But I don't know if it went over the fence to start off with. But it's a line drive right here. Aspo getting that breaking ball, dropping the barrel of the bat, and then the ball hit right into that corner, hit off the top of the fence, and then ricocheted into the bullpen of the Royals. I don't think it would have been a home run if that ball comes back into play. It's only maybe a double. But right there, he got the lucky carom, and it ended up over the fence.
11th home run of the year for Cayaspo. Kansas City in front 1-0. Pena bats and fouls the first pitch away. Baker misses 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, for Baker, that's his 26th home run allowed, his 22nd, only his 5th to a left-handed batter. 21 to right-handed hitters.
2 balls and a strike. Very interesting Cy Young race this year, though, Bert, because number one, there doesn't seem to be a clear-cut favorite, and all of them bring a different argument to the debate. Greinke leads the league in ERA and has racked up 15 wins on a bad baseball team. You've got the Verlander with 17 wins and the most strikeouts.
Sabathia with 18 wins. Yeah.
18 wins and hasn't lost a game since mid-July. Has been a big reason why the Yankees have started to pull away.
Halladay with 8 complete games, 3 shutouts. Very good ERA at 2.9.
This one's well hit to right. Kubel back, and this one's gone. Back-to-back home runs for Cayaspo and Pena, and the Royals have a 2-0 lead.
Pena hitting his 6th home run, a switch hitter, his 5th home run from the left side of the plate. And Baker leaving some pitches up, some breaking balls that are right into the swings of the Royals. Take a look at this pitch right here. Another breaking ball that another left-handed hitter, exactly what Cayaspo did, is just get the barrel of the bat up in the air. And Baker giving up back-to-back home runs.
And now he faces the challenge that has plagued him all season long, and that is avoiding the big inning. He's had more starts where he's been in a nice groove, and then all of a sudden 1 or 2 hits leads to a 5-run inning.
Well, what you want to do is you want to find out what's working for you or not working for you. You can't throw that slider right now until he gets it really inside to left-handers. You want to miss like that, but establish the fastball, use the off-speed pitch. Just don't think hard. Think of subtracting a little bit. It's the first time all season long that Baker has given up back-to-back home runs. Needs to make it stop here.
Gordon fouls it away. Count holds it, no balls and 2 strikes. I asked Rick Anderson about it. He said it's a mental challenge in that you have to be able to focus on the simplicity of the next pitch. You can't let the big picture get in the way. Did you face those kind of challenges?
Oh, yeah, you make mistakes. And my goodness, I gave up 430 home runs in my career, but you realize that all that is a souvenir. You get a new ball. Now it's time to focus back on what you're trying to do now rather than what you did as a mistake. Now you move forward, and in my mind, okay, I gave up 2 home runs. If I lose this ball game, I'm going to lose it 2-0. I have to stop it right here.
Gordon swings and misses.
Yep, Baker picks up his 2nd strikeout.
But sometimes, and perhaps back-to-back home runs, not the best example of it. It's a situation where maybe you've given up a few hits and now the bases are loaded and you're in a jam to focus on the next pitch and the next hitter rather than worrying about, well, I can't let this guy score or that guy score.
Yeah, you can't think that way. You have to find a way to stay positive. And even though those 2 breaking balls were up, now you make the adjustment. Baker did. Good fastball to Gordon right there, getting a strikeout. Now he gets ahead of Betancourt.
Betancourt had 2 hits last night. Into right field. Should be playable for Kubel. And there are 2 out. Visit twinsbaseball.com today and secure your all-Metronome medallion collection. Only 5,000 will be sold. The medallions feature the 18 members of the Wendy's all-Metronome team, and they're available for you at twinsbaseball.com. While you're there, you can pick up tickets for the final weekend of indoor baseball. Twinsbaseball.com, where Twins baseball is always on. 2 out, Josh Anderson, the number 9 hitter for Kansas City. Center fielder hitting at 242.
Yeah, Anderson started the season with the Tigers, now here in Kansas City. A young man, 27 years old. He's been with 4 different organizations already at the major league level. The Astros, the Braves, the Tigers, and now here the Royals. Very quick as far as speed. Good outfielder, cover a lot of range. We saw him make a nice catch off the bat of Jason Kubel in the 2nd inning. But can he hit major league pitching? That will be the key. And for Baker, get out of this inning with no further damage. Opponents coming into the game hitting 246 off of Baker. Left-handed hitters only 221. Well, right-handers hitting 270.
Jam shot to short. Cabrera charges, throws on the run, and got him. The inning is over. But back-to-back home runs by Callaspo and Pena have Kansas City in front, 2-0. This Minnesota moment brought to you by Explore Minnesota. Visit exploreminnesota.com to plan your next Minnesota vacation today. You're looking at the Cuyuna Range Mine Pit in north central Minnesota. The Iron Range area, about 14 miles northeast of Brainerd. Crosby, Ironton, Deerwood, the towns in that area. Harris fouls one into the Minnesota dugout. Brendan Harris, Matt Tolbert, and Nick Punto, the bottom third of the Minnesota batting order against DiNardo here in the 3rd inning. Outside 2-1. Harris didn't play last night, hitting at 262 on the year. Home runs by Callaspo and Pena in the 2nd inning have given Kansas City a 2-run lead. Harris has a leadoff single, but a home run on the right side for Twins fans in Chicago. Alex Rios has gone deep for the White Sox. They lead the Tigers 2-0 in the top half of the 4th inning, trying to make it 2 in a row over Detroit. Freddie Garcia starting for the White Sox tonight against Nate Robertson for the Tigers.
I was talking to a couple scouts before the ball game, Anthony, and you know what they were saying, that they followed the Tigers for a while and they seem to be very tight right now. And he said, you know what, one thing about the Twins, they've won 10 out of the last 11 ball games. They look a lot looser than Detroit Tigers. They're looking like they're enjoying this. And he said a lot of credit goes to Ron Gardenhire, the manager, to keep this club focused into what they're trying to do right now, and that's catch the Tigers.
Tigers have lost 10 of their last 17. Had a little surge earlier this week when they swept the 3-game series at Cleveland. Tolbert swings and fouls one down the left field line.
Well, we've already mentioned that the Twins have won 10 out of the last 11 ball games. Ron Gardenhire giving a lot of credit to this guy right here, Matt Tolbert. The energy that he brings, he said, that's what I've been looking for. Someone, you know, a couple of years ago in spring training, he called him a hummingbird, a guy that doesn't stop. He just goes all over the place. And Gardy really likes his enthusiasm. He likes the way that he approaches every at-bat and what he's been doing defensively, too.
Swing and a miss, and he's out on strikes.
Bernardo picks up his first strikeout. Tolbert swinging at a pitch out of the strike zone.
And you have a chance to get into the game and talk some baseball. Submit your question online at carsoup.com/baseball. Today's question comes from Randy Olson in Golden Valley. Can you explain the magic number and how it relates to the AL Central?
Go ahead, I'll let you do that, Anthony.
Math is one of my strong points.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well,
Have at it.
You have to take a look at how many games are remaining.
Right.
And then you add one. So for Minnesota right now, for example, counting tonight, 9 games left on their schedule, so you add one. Now you're at 10.
Okay.
Then you subtract the number of games ahead in the loss column from the closest opponent. So
2.
Twins right now are 2 behind the Tigers. Right. So if you had 10, you take away 2.
So the magic number for the Tigers is 8. Oh, very good. I think we did it.
And then, of course, once you have the magic number, any combination of Tiger wins or Twins losses that add up to 8 would result in the Tigers winning the Central. 2-1 pitch misses away, 3-1. This is another guy who's had an impact in the same way in the Minnesota lineup. A little bit longer stint than Tolbert. Twins 24-11 in their last 35, and a lot of similarities to the way they changed their lineup to when they made surges in 2006 and 2008. And it was when they put together an infield that was a lot younger, a lot more athletic, a lot better defensively. Remember in 06, Punto all of a sudden became the regular third baseman. In 08, he became the regular shortstop.
Yeah,
this year, he became the regular second baseman.
Well, he's one of those piranhas, you know, that Gardy likes because of the way that he's having at-bats just like that, taking a lot more walks. I know Ron Coomer and Roy Smalley has talked about his different swing now, more of a line drive type swing than earlier this year. He's hitting a lot of fly balls to the outfield. So he's really worked at it, and it's starting to pay off here at a good time for the Twins late in the season.
He's had so many at-bats like that one over the last 2 weeks or so, where instead of getting himself out on that 3-1 pitch, which was not a hit or strike, he's taken that pitch and wound up drawing the walk. Drew 2 walks in Chicago where he was behind in the count 0-2 and battled back to draw bases on balls.
Yeah, able to foul off some nasty pitches and let that pitcher either walk him or give him a cookie that he could hit hard somewhere.
2 on with 1 out for Denard Span. It's allowed the Twins to use him much more as a base runner and base stealer. Gardy commented on that before the game. He said, well, quite simply, we always want him to be aggressive on the base paths. He just wasn't on base very often early in the year.
And the same can be said for AT KCA, also Carlos Gomez. That's the speed of the Twins. Denard Span's been able to get on base. He's got 22 stolen bases.
And Span might have more if he wasn't asked not to run sometimes because of the fact that you have guys like Mauer hitting behind him in the lineup. Punto forced at second base. Span reaches first on the fielder's choice. Runners on the corners for Orlando Cabrera, and Nick Punto does well to break up the double play.
Oh, this is a play like last night. You see Betancourt right there getting in front of that bag, and nice hard slide by Punto. Really no chance for Callaspo to throw out Span. But in last night's ball game, it was Betancourt who kind of had his feet tied up a little bit that allowed that 5th inning to kind of get away from the Royals. So they do get the out, and Harris at third, and now Span at first with 2 outs.
Cabrera hit into a double play to end the first inning. He's 0 for 1.
Cabrera came into this game hit with a 6-game hitting streak, 10 hits in his last 24 at bats, a .417 average.
Strike called evens the count at 1-1. Cabrera's hit left-handers hard all year, .321 against left-handed pitching this year.
He's a steady player, a career .274 hitter coming into this year, his 13th season at the major league level, and he's hitting at .273 coming into the game.
Span continues to look like he's struggling to read DiNardo on the mound.
Yeah, DiNardo's got a funky type of delivery. He almost comes at you, and then all of a sudden here comes his arm. Definitely a short armor type pitcher. I was looking at his bio to see if he ever had like shoulder surgery. He's had shoulder strains, but never surgery on that arm. Yeah, it looks like every time he throws that ball, the left shoulder just comes out of socket. He may not be in the Royals' plans for next year, but one thing he wants to do is finish his season strong and maybe impress another club. He's a free agent at the end of the year.
1-2 to Cabrera, fouled away at the plate.
Let's take a look at the delivery of Lenny DiNardo. Remember with the Boston Red Sox, same way, just an awkward type delivery, and then he kind of short arms the ball in there. DiNardo making his 94th major league appearance. This is his 33rd major league start. And he has 10 major league wins, 16 major league losses.
Another 1-2. Chopper back to DiNardo, and the Twins lead 2 men on in the third. Kansas City maintains a 2-run lead.
I like to sign 2 hot chicks from Duluth. I guess 1 out of 2 isn't bad. You are hereby circled.
2-0 Kansas City. We move into the bottom of the third at Kauffman Stadium. Baker will face the top of the lineup for the Royals. Bloomquist, Meyer, and Butler. And starts Bloomquist with an off-speed pitch for a strike. Willie singled into right field his first time up.
Well, Baker's throwing strikes. He has thrown now 31 pitches, 27 for strikes. That's Brad Radke type of strike throwing.
One ball, one strike. Fastball fouled back, and it's 1-2. With Robbie Ince-Mikowski and Bert Blyleven, I'm Anthony LaPanta, in for Dick Bramer.
Again, congratulations to Eric, Dick's son. Tomorrow he will be confirmation tomorrow.
Up and in, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fouled back, and the count holds at 2-2.
David DeJesus a lot of times will be in this leadoff spot, but he's missed the last couple ball games due to illness. So Willie Bloomquist getting an opportunity to get some at-bats in this leadoff spot. Bloomquist in his first season with the Royals, coming over from the Seattle Mariner organization.
Just off the plate away. And the count runs full.
I mentioned Baker throws a curveball and a slider. This is more the slider, almost like a little cutter right there. Just missing the outer half of the plate. Baker with no walks, a couple strikeouts. Make it 3 strikeouts.
Bauer to first to retire Bloomquist. For information on season tickets at Target Field, here's Matt Guerrero.
Hi, Matt Guerrero here, reminding you it's not too late to get into the game at Target Field. Right now, you can reserve your seat at Target Field for a per-seat deposit of only $100. Call today to reserve your Target Field ticket plan.
Mitch Meyer will hit with 1 out and nobody on. Baker misses away. Another home run in Chicago, this one for Carlos Quentin, a 3-run shot. And the White Sox lead the slumping Tigers 5-0 in the 4th. Twins came into play tonight, 2 games behind Detroit in the Central.
And Nate Robertson started for the Tigers. It's Freddie Garcia on the mound for the Chicago White Sox. And he's been pitching very good baseball. Tigers got shut out last night, 2-0. They get shut out so far here tonight. Twins have to take care of business right here, though. They need to. Baker needs to keep them in the ball game at 2-0.
To the right side, Punto with Baker covering, got him. Twins have not been closer than 2 games since the 5th of July, when they were a game and a half out.
Good job.
Play again.
Yeah, good job here by Baker, because Kadire went to his right. Now he cannot get back to first. It's up to Baker to get over there and basically become the first baseman. And that's probably one of the hardest things that Kadire has to adjust to. How far do I go right before, if I can't get it, get back to the bag? And right there, Punto has great coverage from left to right. And Kadire kind of got caught in no man's land, but Baker did a great job at getting over there.
Butler takes down and away ball 1. Butler struck out his first time up. I mentioned the conflicting statistics earlier. He's hit the Twins hard this year, .339, 3 home runs, including 2 last night, but has struggled in his career against Baker, now 1 for 20 against this Minnesota pitcher.
Yeah, and you probably ask Butler why, and he probably doesn't have an answer, and Baker doesn't have an answer why he's had success against him. Now, in his first at-bat, he missed a breaking ball that Baker threw him that he fouled off, and then Baker struck him out.
Hit well right field. Kubel back at the track, at the wall, and makes the catch. Butler hits it a long way, but Kubel tracks it down. tonight's Cabot Wood-Stain legendary performance. It was on this date in 1965. Minnesota gained its first American League pennant by defeating Washington 2-1 in their 157th game of the season. Todd beat them for his 17th win of the year.
Kitty, kitty, kitty.
And then 3 days later, he won again because back then you didn't take 4 days off between starts.
That's when men were men, Anthony.
Joe Mauer takes ball one.
Oh, DiNardo doing a very good job of putting some zeros on the board against the Twins. 52 pitches, 33 have been strikes.
2-0.
One walk, one strikeout for DiNardo. DiNardo, 30 years old. Originally signed by the Mets back in 2001 out of Seton University. That being out of DeLand, Florida.
Falls behind Mauer 3-0. Jason Kubel waiting on deck. Mauer takes the strike. Check swing, and now the count full at 3-2. Mauer, as we mentioned earlier, walked 3 times last night, one of them with the bases loaded. He's drawn at least 1 walk in 9 of his last 10 games. 3-2 pitch. Fouled away and the count holds.
Yeah, Joe came into this ball game against the Royals this season, 21 hits and 46 at bats, a .457 batting average. Remember, it was the Royals that Joe was against when he started the season back on May 1st. His first at bat, his first swing, a home run over the left field fence.
And he draws a walk to start the Minnesota fourth. Let's check in with Robbie.
You know, guys, I had a chat with hitting coach Joe Vavra for the Twins today at the batting practice cage, and the one thing he told me about Lenny DiNardo, the one thing he's looking for him to do, or to make him do, is to get the ball up. If you notice on that last walk to Mauer, all 4 of the balls were down. So the goal here is to try to get DiNardo to get pitches up, and this is about the time when they know what they're dealing with DiNardo. So look for these guys to take the low pitches, try to get them a little bit higher into their wheelhouse, Anthony.
Jason Kubel, the hitter. The Twins have had similar game plans against the 2 Royal starters the last 2 nights, even though the pitchers are very different in that they needed to have a very patient approach at the plate.
Well, again, they have not seen DiNardo for a couple years, and you can look at all the video you want, but you have to go out there, and Robbie brought up a good point what Joe Vavra was talking about, is you have to make them bring the ball up.
And a part of that is what we talked about right off the top. He likes to nibble. He'll work the outside corner. Joe Vavra had watched all 3 of his starts and said in his first 2 he had the help of a home plate umpire with a generous outside corner. Then his last start he didn't get that, and Boston was able to tag him for 8 runs in 5 innings. Kubel hit by a pitch, and the Twins have the first 2 men on here in the 4th. But he said once we get into the middle innings, if we can force him to come into the strike zone, and as Robbie mentioned, up in the strike zone, he will give us some chances if we don't help him by chasing the pitches down.
Right, but that's kind of the philosophy on every pitcher that you face. You know, make him get the ball up, make him, make a mistake, and then do not miss it. You know, and so far, DiNardo's done a pretty good job of getting a lot of ground ball outs. Right there, he just got the jersey of, Kubel, and now he's finding himself in trouble here in the 4th inning to a very hot hitter, Michael Kadire.
No balls and a strike against Kadire. Swing and a fly ball hit to deep left. Has a chance. It is off the wall. Mauer was waiting to tag at second. He gets a late break. There's a play at the plate. He is out. Scott Holger thought he was in. Ron Gardenhire thought he was in. Mauer had to wait so long because he was going to tag from second base. He was not yet to third base when the ball hit the relay man.
Well, Ron Gardenhire having some words right there with Eric Cooper, just questioning maybe the tag. But Joe Mauer, he definitely, Anthony, he was at second base to where Jason Kubel almost ran up his back. Kadire gets a breaking ball right here. Kadire thought it was gone the way that threw his bat away, high off the wall. And it was the center fielder, Josh Anderson, coming in and hitting the cutoff man. Betancourt's one-hop throw to Pena, and he's able to tag Joe right there on the arm. And Gardy's asking, wait, even though he tagged him on the arm that is up in the air right there, the right arm, and I think he definitely got him because Joe kind of, you see where his legs kind of went out from underneath him when he slid. Right there, he's tagged before he can touch the plate.
Delman Young rounds to short. High throw. The ball comes loose. Delman safe. And then Billy Butler bounces one to the plate as he tried to stop from throwing to third. Michael Kadire advances on the error. The Twins are on the scoreboard. Delman Young will get credit for one RBI.
I don't know how Butler's ball he threw ended up at the catcher, because this ball was hit the Betancourt. Kubel scores. And right here, watch for the high throw. Butler has to go up for it. The ball right off the tip of his glove. But when he picks it up, he's going to throw to third and then throws somehow that ball goes to Pena at home. How do you do that?
The odds of that ball going directly to a teammate that was 90 feet away from the guy you were thinking about throwing it to.
That ball has to be in the Twins dugout.
Credit Young with an RBI, and
credit Butler with a great throw home to cut down Kadire, keep him at third.
A lot of guys don't use that no-look throw to the plate. Brendan Harris is the batter, and the Twins have the tying run at third and one out.
Yeah, that error to Betancourt, again, he made one last night. That's 4 errors he's made over the last 3 nights.
Let's watch this once more.
I mean, look, when he picks up that ball, he sees Kadire taking off, and he goes, you know what? Whoop, I can't throw, but I will cut him off at home.
Throw a 3-hopper without... He'll never think I'm going to throw it over there. 2 balls and a strike. Harris singled into center field his first time up. Young at first, Kadire at third for Minnesota. The 2-1. 3-1. And now Harris in control of the at-bat. And let's see if the Twins put Delman Young in motion, at the very least, to stay out of the double play and give themselves a tie game on a ground ball. He is not moving. Harris swings and hits one high in the air. Fairly deep center. Kadire will be able to score. Delman Young will hold at first base. Harris with his 36th run batted in of the year, and Minnesota has tied it up with 2 here in the 4th.
Well, again, the Twins take advantage of that 4th out, the extra out that the Royals gave them. In last night's ball game, they scored an unearned run in that 4-run 5th inning, and here, because of the error of Betancourt, the Twins get an extra out, and Harris driving in his 36th run. And now there are 2 outs, and Delman Young stays at first.
Miguel Cabrera has homered for Detroit. Tigers on the board, but the White Sox still leading 5-1 as they play in the top of the 5th in Chicago. Tolbert fouls one down the right field line. We started to talk about Lenny DiNardo and the Twins trying to get him to elevate the baseball, and you made the point that that's your plan against every pitcher. Do you think it is more the case against a guy like DiNardo who isn't overpowering in any way. His fastball tops out at 86, 88 miles an hour. I mean, if a guy's throwing 96, you might not be looking for the belt-high fastball.
No, you have to look for a pitch that you can handle. I mean, you know what they always say, a sinker baller, when it's knee-high, you let it go. But when it's belt-high, let it fly. You know, that's basically what you want to do against DiNardo, and that's the type of pitcher he is. You know, he's got a fastball that'll hit 88 to 91 in that range, but the control is not quite there.
Tolbert hammers one into center for a base hit.
I mean, there's a great example right there. You know, I mean, you cannot miss these type of pitches, and Tolbert did not. He left the ball over the plate, and he lines it right back up the middle. Take a look at the location of the pitch, stayed right up, and Tolbert, quick hands right there, lining that ball right back up the middle. Twins get their 4th hit.
And I think what Vavra had seen was a tendency that once he hit the middle innings, he seemed to lead more pitches up in that area. He's made 3 starts this year, hasn't finished the 6th inning in any of them.
Again, he threw 116 pitches in his last start against the Red Sox, and then he started 2 starts ago in Detroit. In 5 1/3 innings, he threw 104 pitches. So a lot of pitches in a short amount of time.
Nick Punto now ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Nick just looks like he's at the plate with so much more confidence here over the last couple of weeks.
Well, again, he's cut down the swing a little bit. He's really worked hard at trying to keep the ball on the ground, and if he does hit it, more of a line drive rather than, you know, more of a almost what Tolbert did in his last hit swing. Short, compact swing. Look for that ball up that you can drive somewhere.
Chance here to put the Twins in front with a base hit. DiNardo delivers a strike.
And that ball's a little high right there. Take a strike. It has to be a pitch that you like. And say you're looking out over the plate. Why take a strike inside when you're looking away?
2 on, 2 out. 2-1 pitch. Now 3-1. Punto drew a walk his first time up, top of the lineup, and Denard Span on deck for the Twins. Three-one pitch. Miss low. Punto draws his 2nd walk of the night. And the Royals, who gave the Twins 8 free passes last night, have now issued 3, hit a batter, and made an error already tonight.
Yeah, Bob McClure, the pitching coach, out.
Aflac trivia question.
Aflac.
When was the last season that the Twins had more home runs than games played?
Yeah, Delman Young last night hit his the club's 162nd home run.
We mentioned earlier that the last time they had 3 players hit 30 in a season was the World Championship team in 1987. Herbeck hit 34, Bernansky 32, and Gaetti 31. Have a chance to get there this year. Joe Mauer at 28. That was also the last time that they had 4 players hit 25. Herbie Puckett hit 28 that year. They have a shot to get 4 to 25 this year. Jason Kubel has 24. Denard Span, with the bases loaded, has been very good in his career.
Yeah, I'd say those are pretty good numbers right there.
7 out of 11 this year. High in the air, right center field. Anderson with a long run. Won't get there. It's all the way to the wall. 3 are in. Span on his way to 3rd with a stand-up triple. And Minnesota has a 5-2 lead.
Well, again, the Twins take advantage of the air. Unbelievable. Last night it was the same thing. It was a lack of control by Tejeda. And here tonight is just the offense getting that 4th out. For Denard Span, his 10th triple of the year. And he got a pitch up. And Anderson, who had to go back, he could not catch up to this as the ball stayed in the ballpark. All 3 runs scored. Twins have put 5 on the board. And Span now with 63 RBIs on the year. So a big 3-run triple right there for Denard Span.
That moves Span into a tie for the league lead with those 10 triples. Jacoby Ellsbury of the Red Sox.
You know, Anthony, credit Nick Punto, too. A very patient at bat. He drew the walk and then allowed Span to get that hit.
And Cabrera sends Span dancing off of third base. No balls, 2 strikes. But what an impact Span has on this Minnesota lineup. On base 3 out of 5 times last night. 2 out of 3 already tonight. And also has enough power to deliver in those kind of situations. Not a home run, but has extra base power.
Yeah, 50 times this year he has now had a multi-hit game. Denard Span has. Only Joe Mauer has more multi-hit games.
And 63 runs batted in out of the leadoff spot in a lineup that was not exactly getting great production from the 8 and 9 hitters for most of the year.
Yeah, Dick and I were talking about that last night, Anthony. You look at the leadoff hitters, you know, their job is to get on. They're the table setters. Those are the guys, the Span, the Orlando Cabreras, the guys that you want to score all the runs in front of Mauer and Morneau and Kadire and Kubel. 9th man sent to the plate here this inning.
Span with those 63 RBI out of the leadoff spot, 4th best in Major League Baseball. Brian Roberts of Baltimore leads with 74. Cabrera trying to get him in from third. 1-2 pitch is grounded to short. Betancourt throws him out, but Minnesota sends 9 men to the plate and scores 5 times in the 4th inning, 3 on the Span triple.
Minnesota Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is brought to you by Quest. Get free 2 gigs online backup service with Quest high-speed internet. By Grand Casino Mille Lacs and Grand Casino Hinckley. Expect grand. And by Prestone. Only Prestone is Prestone.
5 in the 4th for Minnesota as they bat around. Denard Span knocks in 3 with a triple. And the Twins have a 3-run lead into the bottom of the 4th. Jacobs, Callaspo, and Pena.
Again, Anthony, you know, you take advantage of that extra out. The Twins really did. 5 runs, only 1 earned run against DiNardo right there because of the error by Betancourt.
It's been the theme throughout this road trip. They took advantage of couple of errors in Chicago against the White Sox last night. The 8 walks given them by the Royals.
Now you're talking about two clubs, the White Sox and the Royals, that have number 1 and 2 as far as the most errors in the American League. Those are the things that really frustrate a manager when routine plays are not made. And that's one thing that has really helped the Twins get to where they are right now. And that's just a couple games behind the Tigers because of the defense. Only 69 errors for the Twins. That's the fewest in the American League. They take a lot of pride in their defense. That play right there by Betancourt has to be made. And, you know, Trey Hillman, he knows that, but what can you do?
Jacob swings and misses, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Now it's up to Baker to now really bear down and put a 0 on the board right here. Do not let the Royals come back, because this is a ball club, the Royals. You know, they've had a tough time winning this year. 63 wins, 91 losses. And a big strikeout right there by Baker to get the first out, his 4th strikeout of the night.
Swing and a miss there. Our trivia, you didn't give me a guess. I'm going to say 87.
I'm going to say 2004.
You think they had that many, huh?
They had 191 home runs that year.
Wow, not one individual player got to 30.
No, Corey Koski 25, Jock Jones 24, Torrey Hunter 23. That was the year, Anthony, and I looked it up. They had 9 players with 10 or more home runs, and that's, you know, not a bad year because they won the division. They were 92 and 70 that year. Hey, you don't want to be on a ball club where, you know, one guy hits all the home runs. You want to kind of spread them out.
We got 10 from Luis Rivas that year. Callaspo homered his last time up. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He got that slider down and in, and he hit that ball right down the right field line that actually got the right carom that caromed into the bullpen for the Royals.
Popped him up. Punto calling for it. 2 out, and Brian Pena will be the hitter. Pena also homered in his first at bat. Back-to-back home runs in the second had given Kansas City a 2-0 lead before Minnesota responded with 5 in the 4th. Foul down the left field line.
Yeah, Pena, a big, strong kid, just 27 years old. Trey Hillman, they have 3 catchers here. They have Olivo, Buck, and Pena. Pena, a switch hitter. He has some pop in his bat. Originally came up with the Braves from 2005 to last year. Up and down between AAA and the big leagues.
He talked about Scott Baker trying to avoid the big inning and put past struggles behind him. He's done that here tonight. Since Pena's home run, he's retired 8 in a row.
And that's what you have to do. That's what we talked about. You cannot worry about what you did. All you can do is worry about what you're about to do. And Baker's doing a good job of throwing strikes, too. 55 pitches for Baker. 43 have been strikes. No walks in a ball game with 4 strikeouts. They're doing a good job of getting strike 1. 12 of the 15 he's faced. And he got strike 1 on the first 10 batters he faced.
Oh, 2 pitch. Check swing. He held up.
Baker making his 31st start of the season, his 107th major league start. He has 41 wins, 33 losses. Again, against the Royals, he's 6-3 with an ERA under 3 lifetime against the Royals in 11 starts.
Into center. Span drifts over into left center to make the catch. Another 1-2-3 inning. That's 9 in a row set down by Baker.
Well, welcome back. Twins have a 5-2 lead, and there you go. You are hereby circled. And Twin fans, don't forget at Twin home games, you'll bring your Circle Me Burt signs, and you might find yourself in the Minnesota Lottery winner circle, where you could win $100 worth of lottery scratch-off tickets. A pretty good circle, huh?
Well, I really hope that's not the only thing on their bucket list. Bauer, Kubel, and Kadire for the Twins in the 5th. So many Twins fans here, and I know this is one of the favorite destinations for Twins fans. There will always be a good representation of Minnesota fans here in Kansas City. Last night I had the chance to walk out and watch the game from a few different parts of the ballpark, and everywhere I went, the section seemed to be a third, quarter Twins fans. When a Twins player would get a base hit, I was amazed how many were up on their feet roaring.
Yeah, even though I think, this is the last year of the Metrodome, and everybody's going to say, well, a lot of these fans are not going to come down here, but I still believe they are. They're going to go here, they're going to go to Milwaukee, they're going to come to Chicago, they're going to go to places that, this is a beautiful city here, Kansas City. It's a beautiful ballpark. Why wouldn't you just want to come also to Target Field, but also visit other ballparks than like this stadium here? They put so much money into this beautiful new Kauffman Stadium. It's a great place to visit and a great place to watch the game.
Bauer delivers a base hit, his first in the series. And the Twins have the leadoff man on. In Chicago, the Tigers are battling back. Miguel Cabrera, who homered earlier, chops this one into right center, a 2-run single. And the White Sox lead is cut to 2 at 5-3. Tigers still batting at the top of the 6th.
Well, that Cabrera, I tell you what, he's having an MVP type year. That was a pretty nasty pitch right there by Garcia that he just kind of hit softly into center for the 2-run single.
Cabrera hitting at .331 now on the season. All 3 RBI for the Tigers tonight. 0-1 pitch to Jason Kubel, misses low. Kubel was hit by a pitch his last time up. We talked about the difference in the way the Royals have pitched to Joe Mauer with Kubel behind him rather than Morneau. And Kubel's had a great year. For whatever reason, he has not had success in this ballpark. Just 160 here this year and 186 in his career. I asked him about it last night, and he said, I feel like I have to pull the ball here to get it to go. It just feels like the park is so big. And you've talked about that before, Bert, that some mounds you just feel like you can dominate from there. You're right on top of a hitter. And the reverse seems to be true for Kubel when he digs into the batter's box here at Kauffman Stadium.
Well, to me, this was definitely a pitcher's type ballpark. Right there, he swings through a breaking ball from DiNardo, and DiNardo picking up just his 2nd strikeout. But very good pitcher's ballpark because of the dimensions here. I mean, 330 down the lines. Take a look at this breaking ball right here. Good breaking ball. 410 straight away, and then the power alley's at about 385. So, yeah, I mean, there are certain ballparks that I'm sure hitters come in and they say, boy, I really have to hit the ball down the line to get any extra base hits. Where a pitcher comes in, I say, wow, I love this ballpark because you have to hit it pretty good to get it out over the fence.
Michael Kadire nearly hit one over the fence his last time up. Doubled off the wall and left center field. On the play, the Twins lost Joe Mauer trying to score. Two and one.
Kadire having a very solid season. Remember all the frustrating times he had last year with the finger problems, and then he went down and ended up breaking his foot while on rehab down in Rochester. Quite a comeback year for Michael Kadire. Hit 3 home runs last year.
Hits this one well to right center. Anderson on the run, and instead will be the right fielder Bloomquist to make the catch for the 2nd out. Kadire went from 3 home runs last year to 30 so far this year. Aaron Hill has had a similar turnaround in Toronto. 2 home runs last season, 34 this season.
Yeah, Victor Martinez had a lot of injuries, last year with the Indians. Now with the Boston Red Sox, very solid year. I'd like to throw one more name in there, and that's a Twins pitcher that came over from the Cleveland Indians. That's Carl Pavano. I mean, here's a guy that made only 26 starts in 4 seasons for the Yankees. He's made, 31 starts now this year. He's got a chance to pitch over 200 innings. Now that, to me, is a comeback player. But so is Michael Kadire.
Delman Young grounds to the third to end
so is Aaron Hill. You are too.
Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. Great crowd on a great night. With Robbie Ince-Makowski and Bert Blyleven, I'm Anthony LaPanta. The Twins lead the Royals 5-2 on the strength of a 5-run 4th inning for Minnesota. Scott Baker has set down the last 9 Royals that he's faced and will face the bottom. Gordon struck out his first time. He's 0 for 1. Outside. Baker has been very effective for the Twins other than those 2 home runs. You talked about his strike to ball ratio earlier. It's outstanding. 45 strikes and 14 balls at this point. A night where it might be more important than normal for Baker to pitch deep into the ball game for the Twins, because tomorrow they start Francisco Liriano, who will be on a pitch count. Unlikely to go more than 70 pitches or so for the Twins tomorrow, and it might mean you need more out of your bullpen in tomorrow afternoon's game.
Yeah, hopefully Baker can go deep into the ball game, only because also his mound opponent tomorrow is Zach Greinke. Greinke's, he's been red hot for the Kansas City Royals. Gardenhire and Anderson do not know what they're going to get out of Liriano. They want him to go out tomorrow and give me all you have for whatever it is. If it's 3, if it's 4 innings, give it to us, because tomorrow's a big game. Tonight's a bigger game because they have to win here tonight, because when you're facing a guy like Greinke, you just don't know. So the Twins really have to win here tonight.
Minnesota's been getting very good pitching. It really turned around the last time they were in Kansas City. They had lost the last game of the series in Texas, and since that time, 32 games. Look at what their pitching staff has done, 22-10.
The 22 wins, the most in baseball since that time over the last 32 ball games, and the ERA 4th best. That man right there, Rick Anderson, a lot of patience. and you need to, go out and make sure these guys attack the strike zone, and the Twins do that. They do a great job of that. Nice play right there by Joe Mauer, getting that foul ball out off the bat of Betancourt.
Starting pitching has been a big key over that stretch, Bert. The starters are 13-8, but they've averaged 6 innings per start. And remember, that was on the heels of a stretch of games where their starting pitchers were getting knocked out in the second and third innings fairly regularly.
I got to credit a lot to Carl Pavano. I think just him coming over, he's really set the stage. He's helped these guys between starts. Even though Manship, he struggled, a little bit in the starts. I remember a couple starts ago, he had been knocked around a little bit. It was Carl Pavano that went down and talked to him on the bench to just try to, just talk a little pitching, maybe about some of the mistakes he made and how he can improve on that.
When I asked Rick Anderson what he thought the difference in the pitching staff had been over that stretch, Pavano was the first topic that he brought up. Twofold. Number one, obviously his addition to the rotation has meant solid starts when he's been pitching, but he mentioned the same thing.
Yep.
Baker
talk more
flips.
About that. You know why? Because it's pitching.
Pitching, all pitching. Baker's setting down 12 in a row. The Twins lead 5-2. Denard spans 3-run triple.
Yeah, you know what? The Royals hit back-to-back home runs. They gave them a 2-0 lead, but then in the top of the fourth, the Twins took advantage of the error by the shortstop Betancourt. Ended up putting up 5 runs, only 1 earned run to take that 5-2 lead, and span a big part of that because of that 3-run triple.
Harris, Tolbert, and Puto for Minnesota in the 6th. Harris swings and misses at an off-speed pitch. Harris with a single and a sacrifice fly tonight. His fly ball tied the game for Minnesota in the 4th. Base hit. Harris is 2 for 2 tonight. Final game at the Metrodome is a sellout, so you should come out next Saturday for Fan Appreciation Day, presented by DQ. All fans will receive a great Twins calendar. Get to the Dome early, as many of the Twins greats from the Metrodome years will be available for photos. For details and tickets, call 800-33-TWINS or log on to twinsbaseball.com.
That'll be against these Kansas City Royals. These are the last couple games for the Royals here at Kauffman Stadium. From here, they go to New York for the first time this year. I mean, here it is. You know, the season's almost over, and they're going to New York to play the Yankees for the first time, and then the final 3 games are played at the Metrodome. And just before the Minnesota Twins, the Boston Red Sox came here to Kansas City for the first time. I do not like the schedule.
Colbert swings and misses. Interesting that the last game the Twins played at Met Stadium was against Kansas City. The last Vikings game at Met Stadium was against Kansas City. And now the last
Royals
Twins
played the
game,
Vikings?
They did.
Wow.
And
Hope the Vikings won.
I think they had their way with them that day. Colbert delivers a base hit. And now the Twins' last regular season game will be against the Kansas City Royals. Maybe we should get the Chiefs to come to town. And
oh, I thought Steve Balboni maybe had a huge day. Put that helmet on that head.
He'd have been tough to bring down, wouldn't he?
Another good at bat for Matt Tolbert right there, getting his second straight hit. And now a little delay right here as got some action in the Royals bullpen. Pena going out to stall a little bit.
Jamie Wright was up and throwing earlier. He's up again, and
Trey Hillman's on his way out. He will be making a pitching change.
DiNardo's night is complete for the fourth consecutive start. He finishes 5 but not 6. The Twins have 2 on against the new pitcher.
His 64th relief appearance, 2 wins, 5 losses out of a bullpen that has struggled all season long. 75 innings for Wright. He has had some control problems, 42 walks, 5 and 10. Well, you see right there at 6'5", about 205 pounds, 34 years old. This is his second stint with the Royals. He pitched for the Royals back in 2003, and then coming back to him after a couple seasons with the Texas Rangers.
It will move Punto to the left side of the plate.
A sacrifice situation right here. Punto laid down a sacrifice bunt in last night's ball game. He has 10 on the year. Gordon at third, looking for the possible bunt as Butler to the first baseman is going to be charging.
And Punto gets the job done. The runners advance. Minnesota's been playing these kind of strategies much more lately, and they've been executing them much better lately. Early in the year, sacrifice bunts were far from automatic, even from some of the team's best bunters like Nick Punto.
Well, these are the little things that really help a ball club win some ball games. He'll get high fives all around from that bench. Everybody knows the importance of what Nick Punto did right there, and that's to advance the runners. Now it's up to, hopefully, Denard Span to maybe pick up a couple more runs here.
Royals play the infield in with 1 out here in the 6th. Span knocked in 3 with a triple his last time up. 2 for 3 in the game and 4 for 7 in the series.
He'll face Jamie Wright, who has a good sinking fastball. He'll mix in a slow curveball and a changeup. Wright works right over the top and gets a strike.
Mentioned after Span's triple, 63 RBI out of the leadoff spot. 4th best in baseball this year. Ryan Roberts leads all major league leadoff hitters with 74 runs batted in. Span takes away. Has 2 in scoring position here. Chance for the Twins to add to a 3-run lead.
All 3 pitches so far outer half of the plate. Watch Pena, the catcher, move a little bit.
Up the middle, a base hit. Harris is in. Tolbert will score a 2-run single for Denard Span. He's knocked in 5 tonight, and Minnesota leads by 5.
Well, he stayed outside, and it was Span that made the adjustment on that sinker and took it right back up the middle. A great night at the plate for Denard Span. Only right there, just you see how quick he is. He waits on that ball almost at the last second, then utilizes those quick hands and driving that ball right up the middle.
It's amazing the impact he has on this Minnesota lineup. Mentioned it earlier in the first game of the road trip in Chicago. Lefty Randy Williams hit him with a pitch in the back of the head, and Span did not play the last 2 games in Chicago. Returned to the lineup last night and now has been on base 6 out of 9 plate appearances in this series. Driven in 5 runs tonight, but here he gets picked off.
A quick move right there by Wright, and Span trying to take that little extra step. He got caught. See him taking that one little extra step going towards second base in a quick move, and Span gets picked off.
Base is now empty for Cabrera. Orlando 0 for 3. 3 ground ball outs. Fouled back.
Now those 5 RBIs tonight by Denard Span, a career high in RBI in 1 ball game.
High in the air to left. Meyer backpedals and has it for the final out. But Denard Span delivers a 2-run single. Minnesota adds 2 to the lead. Light freeze cam.
Well, we go to the fourth inning. Michael Dyer hitting a double off this wall right here. Joe Mauer kind of had to wait around second base. He's finally sent home, and the throw home. Mauer gets tagged out right there. That was also the inning that Betancourt, the next hitter off the bat of Delman Young, made the big error, and the Twins took advantage of that extra out and scored 5 runs. And so far, Baker has been outstanding.
Frost brewed Coors Light freeze cam.
Very good.
And the freeze cam proved that Eric Cooper was right.
Yep.
Twins argued adamantly that Mauer had gotten underneath the tag.
Well, I think a lot of times when somebody slides, their feet go first. But right there you could see Joe got kind of tied up a little bit to where his knees were actually the part that were going to go over the plate rather than his shoe area or his ankle area.
Top of the lineup for Kansas City in the 6th.
So it was a good call by the home plate umpire Eric Cooper. Baker's in a good groove right now. 12 straight retired, but this is nothing new for Scott Baker against the Royals. He had that perfect game against the Royals back in 2007 when he took that perfect game into the 9th inning. Ended up losing that perfect game.
Got this one in on the hands of Bloomquist.
Then earlier this year against the Royals in his first start back in May, he had 6 no-hit innings against the Royals before he kind of exploded in the 7th and ended up getting the loss.
Bloomquist with a very defensive swing, and the count holds at 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Pitch count excellent for Baker at 70 pitches.
Another 1-2 and another foul back. Minnesota started play tonight 2 games behind. A Quest high-speed pitch. Baker at 95, DiNardo at 88. High-speed pitch brought to you by Quest high-speed internet. Another foul down the right field line. What was the top speed for Bert Blyleven?
Right about there, 93, 94.
How about the curveball?
93, 94. Throw it as hard as you can. Go until your arm falls off. It just took me 23 years for my arm to fall off. There's a good curveball right there. And Baker picking up his 5th strikeout, and he's retired now 13 straight.
In Chicago, the Tigers trying to come from down 5-0. It's 5-4 in the 7th when Curtis Granderson ties it with this single. Later in the same inning, Pena on to relieve Freddie Garcia, and Polanco singles to right. Maglio Ordonez has added an RBI single. 4 in the 7th, and the Tigers now lead the White Sox 7-5 in the 7th. Tigers with a 2-game lead over Minnesota coming into play tonight. The Twins have not been closer than that since July 6th when they were a game and a half out. Teams will open a 4-game series in Detroit on Monday.
Yeah, there it is right there. The Tigers with that 2-game lead.
Now I know that you took great notes as we answered our question earlier about magic numbers. So if these 2 scores hold, what will the Tigers' magic number be?
I knew you'd drop that on me. You mean when they face each other on Monday?
How about just the end of the night tonight?
How about tonight?
If both these scores hold,
it would be 7.
It would be 7.
Thank you, Trevor Fleck. I love the truck.
2 balls, 2 strikes. The count to Mitch Meyer, who singled in the 1st, grounded out in the 3rd. 3-2. Baker hasn't walked a batter. He's struck out 5. Royals have 4 hits, back-to-back singles to start the game, back-to-back home runs to start the 2nd. foul down the left field line, out of play.
Well, if you followed Scott Baker this year, he really struggled. He had a tough time getting going. He started the season on a disabled list. You know, the first 9 starts, he just wasn't Scott Baker that everybody expected him to be. He was 2-6, an ERA over 6. But over the last 21 starts, he turned the calendar into the month of June, and he has been awesome.
Missed by much.
Yeah, just misses inside. So the streak of 13 straight comes to an end. Baker walking his first batter, and something he doesn't do much of. Averaging about 2 walks per 9 innings. Just missing inside, says Eric Cooper, is right over the right shoulder of Joe Mauer.
And Billy Butler bats, and a bat similar to the one we saw last night, where it looked like the Twins were in control of the game at 6-1. Difference is last night they had 2 runners on. Here it's only 1. And with 1 swing, Butler made it interesting again. Cut the Twins lead to 6-4 last night. Trying to do the same thing here with Minnesota in front by 5.
Joe Mauer's going to go out and try to settle him, get him refocused right here. Baker a little bit all over the place so far this inning. He was able to strike out Bloomquist on a curveball that he took. Take a look at our quick trip to the mound by Joe Mauer, to his right-handed starter. But to finish my Baker thing, over his last 21 starts since June 4th, he is 11-3 with a 3.67 ERA. So he has been outstanding.
Trying to bounce back from a disappointing start his last time out. Went only 4 2/3 innings against Detroit at the Dome last Sunday when Minnesota had a chance to sweep the Tigers.
A good breaking ball right there, and maybe a fastball situation, and Butler did not have a very good swing at it. Yeah, Baker 0-2 over his last 2 starts. A loss in Toronto, then a no decision against the Indians at the Metrodome, and then the loss to the Tigers.
1-1 pitch is low. 2 balls and a strike. Butler hitless tonight after his big 4-hit night last night.
Well, we were talking earlier about Jason Kubling having a tough time, hitting here, and Butler, he's having a tough time against Baker over his career. 1 for 21 now.
21. Yeah. Swing and a miss. 2-2.
Good fastball right there. Great location, down and away. And that's one thing I think I have seen Baker since June do a better job of. So many times in April and May, I was talking about Baker standing straight up and the fastball be about letter high, where now he seems to be working better out front and getting that ball better down in the strike zone.
2-2.
Like that. Perfect. Double play.
Cabrera steps on the bag and takes care of himself. Second double play of the night for Minnesota, and the lead is still 5 after 6. Browse the largest online selection of authentic Twins gear like caps, t-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and more. Get your Twins gear straight from the source, twinsbaseball.com. I think you should get a shirt like Bert.
And walk around with it?
Yeah.
I'm already Bert. Why would I need a shirt?
Get a shirt like that Bert was wearing. You've got the
what makes you think I don't have
yellow
one?
head.
Yeah, what makes you think I don't have one?
I have an Ernie shirt.
Yeah, the only Ernie I ever played with was in Cleveland, Ernie Camacho. And he was our closer. So sometimes if I were to, you know, pitch pretty good and he would get the save, it would be the Bert and Ernie show.
Robbie Intzmakowski is down on field level with Bert Blylev and I'm Anthony LaPanta at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, where the Twins have scored 5 in the 4th and 2 in the 6th to erase an early 2-run Kansas City lead. They're in front 7-2 in the 7th with Joe Mauer leading it off. Mauer 1 for 2 tonight.
I think times as a pitcher, when you face a guy like Joe Mauer, I mean, I did it here with George Brett. Sometimes you find yourself trying to make perfect pitches, and then you find yourself in these situations. 2-1, 3-1, rather than just saying, you know, hit the darn thing, just get a hit and get it over with. Well, Wright falling behind right now. He doesn't want to walk Joe Mauer right here to lead off the inning, so I'm going to go fastball away, and hopefully he hits it at somebody.
3-1 pitch. He hits it right at the second baseman. And Cayaspo throws him out. Our game summary in the second inning. Couple of long balls for the Royals.
Cayaspo right there, a home run. The next hitter, Pena, a home run. Back-to-back home runs. First time that's happened against Scott Baker. But in the 4th inning, the Twins opened it up with 5 runs in the 4th, highlighted by Denard Span's 3-run triple. The Twins added a couple more in the 6th to take a 7-2 lead.
Span has knocked in 5 for Minnesota tonight. And here is Jason Kubel, whose struggles in Kansas City have continued. He's 0 for 2 tonight, 0 for 5 in the series. 2-0. We talked about it during his last at bat. Just 160 at Kauffman Stadium this year. I asked him about it as he was looking at the field, and I said, boy, it's a great ballpark. And he said, well, it's a great ballpark to look at, but I hate hitting here. And part of it is the Royals pitchers have done a good job against me, but I feel like the park gets big so fast that I feel like I'm trying to pull something every time.
Isn't it amazing when you put that little bit of negative in your mind that it just grows to be a bigger negative? You know, again, it works both ways. You know, Butler the same way against Baker. You know, he hit into the double play to end the last inning. He got a pitch to hit, and he hit in a double play. And Kubel probably very happy at that walk right there.
4-pitch walk gives the Twins a runner for Michael Kadire.
Boy, this game of baseball is so much about how you feel, the confidence factor. The Twins, as a ball club right now, very confident because they've won 10 of 11. They seem like they can do no wrong. Well, you know, a couple months ago when they were going through that up and down, win one, lose one, you couldn't find that confidence. Now all of a sudden, you know, the winning kind of just creates that beautiful confidence feeling of coming to the ballpark. You want to come to the ballpark because you're in a pennant race. And that's what the game's all about. Something that Kansas City has not had for a long time here in the Kansas City area.
Haven't been to the playoffs in 24 years. Swing and a miss by Kadire, which is amazing throughout your career. I'm a lot younger than you, so I was just a kid during your career and was a baseball fan, but the Royals were one of the elite. Year in, year out, they were one of the teams to beat in the American League.
Oh, they have some great players here. Not only great hitters, also a great pitching staff. Mark Ubezal was here. Brett Saberhagen. Dennis Leonard was here. Paul Splittorff.
Had that same cast, it seemed, for the better part of a decade, with George Brett and Frank White, and Amos Otis, John Mayberry.
Yeah, Bo Jackson, he was fun to watch. What an athlete he was. Already mentioned Steve Balboni earlier. Well, Jamie Wright, 34 years old, originally the Rockies' #1 pick back in 1993.
Kadir takes away. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
It's been an area that the Royals over the years have just had a tough time with, is their pitching. Starters, you know, coming into the year, they had Gil Mesh, they had Zach Greinke, who we'll see tomorrow afternoon, Brian Bannister. They had a group of guys that they really felt like they were going to contend this year. They started off really good, but 18 and 11, their first 29 ball games, but it's been downhill ever since.
Helped when Greinke sprinted from the gates like he did, won his first 6 starts.
Oh, good pitch right here. Watch the movement of this sinking fastball right underneath the swing of Kadir.
So with 2 out, Delman Young will bat, hitless tonight. Did score a run and knock in a run during the 5-run 5th inning. Reached on Yuniesky Betancourt's error at shortstop. Liriano against Greinke tomorrow afternoon in the series finale. Then the Twins will head for Detroit with the showdown series against the Tigers. White Sox have finally gotten out of that 7th inning against Detroit. The Tigers score 4 and lead it 7-5. Breaking ball misses inside. 2 balls and a strike.
Yeah, he uses that curveball as almost a changeup right there. Just left it in to Delman.
Foul down the third baseline. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Kubel at first base. Twins trying to find a way to add to a 5-run lead here in the 7th. Bullpen quiet as Scott Baker has settled into a groove, retiring 14 out of the last 15. Swing and a miss. Young's out on strikes. Wright gets 2 strikeouts in the inning. 7th inning stretch in Kansas City, Minnesota by 5.
And by Aflac, we've got you under our wing.
Well, Lorraine from Dexter, you are hereby circled. You are a Mountain Dew fan of the game. I like your hat. See, they're smiling. We'll be getting phone calls here in a second.
She's crossed it off her bucket list. It's on your bucket list.
Working with you.
Cross it off.
That was a great movie, though.
It was.
Jack Nicholson, Morgan Freeman.
Jacobs, Cayaspo, and Pena against Baker in the 7th. Did it prompt you to make a bucket list?
No. No, every day is, to me, a bucket list. Every day is an adventure. How about you?
Yeah, I agree with that, although as this ball is fair on the left field line, Jacobs has a base hit. Every day is a good day, but it doesn't mean you can't have aspirations to do some things on some of your future days.
Now, what's one thing that you would like to do that you've never done before?
I haven't been to Italy.
Well, you probably, do you have family there?
Somewhere. If you go up far enough on the family tree.
You have to climb a tree to find your family?
A few monkeys in the family.
Well, Jacobs getting that hit, that kind of inside-out swing right there, gets that base hit down that left field line. It's the first hit off of Scott Baker since the home run by Pena in the 2nd inning. So Baker now has given up 5 hits in a ball game.
Cayaspo lifts one in the air, left center, Span on the run, can't get it. It's into the gap and all the way to the wall. Jacobs around third will score, and the Royals cut the Minnesota lead to 7-3.
Well, you cannot let down as a pitcher. Baker was pitching outstanding. Now he's left some balls up. The hit by Jacobs, that's just a ball that's down the line. But right there, Cayaspo taking that pitch the other way. Good piece of hitting right here. But you need to really get back refocused to not let the Royals get some momentum and get back into this ball game. Cayaspo with the RBI double gets his 2nd RBI of the ball game, and it's a 7-3 lead.
Twins get some activity in their bullpen. Mayhay up and throwing, and it appears Jesse Crane will join him. Rick Anderson out to visit with Scott Baker.
Oh, Baker at 89 pitches. These are the situations I've seen before that you got to really bear down. You know, you walk in and I'm sure Rick Anderson may say, hey, you have one more inning. Make it your best inning. And right there, now Baker's got to bear down and get the Royals off the field right here. Get his teammates back in the dugout. Leave Cayaspo on the bases. Hopefully that's the only run they'll score.
Pena 1 for 2 with a home run and a fly ball to center. To second base. It will advance Cayaspo to third. Twins will gladly trade an out for a base.
Yeah, so true right there. After a base hit and then the RBI double, you want an out. And Pena doing his job, getting that runner over, Cayaspo over to third. Well, Baker would like to get a strikeout. He has 5 strikeouts in a ball game. You got Gordon in the 2nd inning. And Orlando Cabrera is going to run in and talk to Baker as Joe Mauer goes out.
Cabrera perhaps just wants to know pitch patterns for defensive positioning. Without a runner on first base or second base, wouldn't be any coverage situations.
And that might have just been a delay because here comes manager Ron Gardenhire. So a quick hook right here for Gardy as he makes a move to the bullpen. Looks like the left-hander Ron Mayhay coming into the ball game.
Twins still lead 7-3.
Tired 13 straight, and then last inning he walked Meyer and then got the double play ball. But here in the 7th inning, the leadoff single to Jacobs, the RBI double by Iaspo, and then the ground ball by Pena. That brings in Ron Mayhay, who worked in last night's ball game. He worked one shutout inning in the Twins' 9-4 win. Mayhay, of course, a former Kansas City Royal, started the season with the Royals. Made 41 relief appearances for the Royals, a 4.79 ERA. Done a great job in a Twins uniform.
Mayhay faces Alex Gordon with Iaspo at third and one out. The Twins with the infield back. They will obviously take an out and give the Royals a run. On an infield ground ball, Betancourt on deck. One run already in for Kansas City here in the 7th. One ball, one strike.
Well, Mayhay at 38 years old still has that good fastball. He'll mix in a hard slider and a changeup.
To third, Tolbert backhands and throws him out. Iaspo scores on the play. And now Betancourt will bat with the lefty Anderson waiting on deck. Let's see if Gardy opts to stick with Mayhay. Right-hander Jesse Crane still throwing. This is one of those situations that the addition of Mayhay and Rauch, the return of Crane, have really allowed Gardy so much more flexibility to get matchups in the 7th inning and even in the 6th inning sometimes, rather than having to wait with your situational lefty until the 8th.
Yeah, that's definitely right, Anthony. I mean, you know what? You had those two guys, two veterans in Mayhay and Rauch. They have really solidified the bullpen, and in the way that Jesse Crane has pitched since his return from Rochester, you know, now you've got, we haven't even mentioned Moraharis or Matt Guerrero, two guys that really are in that 8th inning role to set up Joe Nathan.
Tolbert makes a nice play.
Nice play by Tolbert right there, getting the ball before it went into foul territory.
And the Royals are out in the 7th. They do score 2, 7-4 Minnesota. It's the final regular season game ever at the Metrodome. Twins and the Royals at 1 o'clock on May 29. Immediately after the game, turn to Fox Sports North to catch all the farewell to the Metrodome ceremonies. Current and former players will be on hand. The all-Metrodome team will be honored. We'll highlight some of the most memorable moments, capping off with a music tribute to the Twins' 26 years under the roof. The farewell to the Metrodome Sunday, immediately following the game, right here on Fox Sports North.
Boy, it'll be a great day, won't it?
It will.
28 years underneath that baggie. And can't wait to get into new Target Field.
That'll be a better day. New pitcher for Kansas City, Yasuhiko Yabuta.
Yeah, Yabuta started the season with the Royals, then sent down to AAA, got called up back to the major league level. The latter part of August, he's making just his 9th relief appearance. He's in his 2nd season with the Royals after signing a 2-year contract coming over from Japan. Yabuta, 35 years old.
Brendan Harris, 2 for 2. Pair of singles and a sacrifice fly tonight. Two-two pitch from Yabuta. Popped up, foul, and out of play. Tolbert on deck, Punto to follow. Another productive night for the bottom of the Minnesota lineup. 7, 8, 9 hitters have combined to score 4 runs, knock in 1.
Boy,
4 hits in 5 official at bats.
And that's been a key, hasn't it, Anthony? I mean, you look at how the Twins have won the last 10 out of 11 ball games because everybody has contributed.
And they've found a way to take advantage of everything the opponents give them. That was the story in the 4th inning tonight for Minnesota. Joe Mauer had walked to lead off the inning. Jason Kubel hit by a pitch. Then after Michael Kadire doubled, an error opened the door, and Denard Span made them pay with a 3-run triple. The Twins sent 9 men to the plate in the inning and scored 5 times.
Yeah, 4 unearned runs, and that's really the story right now, is that error by Betancourt really opened up the floodgates for the Twins.
Tolbert 2 for 3. Strikeout, and then a pair of singles. He's scored runs in each of the 4th and 6th innings. Misses away. The bullpen now quiet for Minnesota, which would lead you to believe that Mayhe will be back out to start the 8th. Royals lineup left, right, left, right, left, right.
Sounds like a military lineup. Good changeup right there, just missing low.
Tigers breaking it open in Chicago. 4 more in the 8th, and they now lead 11-5. Tolbert swings and lines one to right field. This will be extra bases. Tolbert with at least 2. He's thinking 3. No, he'll put on the brakes, and Scott Ulger claps his hands in frustration. He thought Tolbert had 3 easily.
Well, Tolbert right there, he got a breaking ball or pitch up, and he just pulled that ball. His 3rd hit of the ball game. Yeah, it's a fastball away. Tolbert opening up, turning on it, and it goes into that right field area.
I'm not sure why he stopped.
Yeah, he did not pick up Scotty Ulger right there. Maybe he knew he made a mistake and did not pick him up as he was rounding first. You have to pick up that third base coach to see what he tells you. But it's a double for Tolbert, his 5th of the year.
And with 1 out, that might be a big play in the game, because if he gets himself to third base, if there were nobody out or 2 out, might not be as big a play. But with 1 out, that extra 90 feet could make a big difference. Punto now will need a base hit to get him in.
Let's take a look right here. He's got to pick up Alger right there, and see Alger saying, "Oh boy, I think he could have probably made it," but he did not pick up his third base coach.
On a ball hit like that one into the right field corner, the only way 3 is possible is if the hitter makes up his mind immediately that at least going to put himself in a spot to get to third.
Like Delman Young did in last night's ball game. I mean, once that ball was hit in the left center, as soon as he rounded second base, that ball now pretty much in front of him as he rounds first. He can see the play, what it's going to take for him to get out at third base, and he made it safely. But right there, when that ball's behind you, you have to depend on your third base coach. You have to pick him up, and that's something that Tolbert did not do. And I'm sure Scotty Alger will talk to him about that between innings, or maybe if he gets to third base.
Another disciplined at bat by Nick Punto. He's walked twice tonight and had a sacrifice bunt. 3-1 pitch. Walked again. 3 walks tonight, 4 in the series for Punto. And Trey Hillman just looks in disbelief.
Well, you know what? I mean, Nick Punto's hitting 9th for a reason. You know, and here tonight they've walked him 3 times. I mean, that to me is very frustrating. It has to be for Bob McClure, the pitching coach, and also the manager, Trey Hillman.
5 walks by the Royals staff tonight. 3 by DiNardo, 1 by Wright, now 1 by Yabuta.
Yeah, there's pitching coach Bob McClure in his 4th season with his staff.
You bring a man to the plate who has already driven in 5 runs tonight in Denard Span.
A career high 5 RBIs in tonight's ball game for Span. Hopefully he can add to that right here.
Fouled away. Span 5 for 8 in the series. Plus he drew a walk last night, so he's been on base in 6 of 9 plate appearances here against the Royals. Chance here for Minnesota to answer the 2 runs by Kansas City in the bottom of the 7th. Span takes high, and it's 1-2.
Well, Twins took 8 walks last night, and they've taken 5 walks so far here tonight. And the Royals pitching staff the most walks allowed in the American League, and the Twins the fewest walks allowed in the American League.
Twins a very patient team at the plate as well. I mean, they've walked 547 times coming into tonight, 115 more than Kansas City. Span lines a hit into left center. This will get another run in. Denard has 6 RBI tonight, and Minnesota leads at 8-4.
Well, what a night for Denard Span, just taking that pitch the other way. And right here with the runner at second base, sometimes the catcher will do this and the ball ends up where he started off. It did not get in where Pena wanted it, and Span took advantage of that ball that was left out over the plate to drive in his 6th run of the ball game. And the Twins answering back with half of the runs that the Royals were able to put on the board in the bottom of the 7th. Tolbert scores for the 3rd time in a ball game, and Nick Punto at 3rd.
Cabrera looking for his first hit tonight. 0 for 4. Fly ball would get the Twins a 2nd run in the inning. Punto at 3rd, Span at 1st, 1 out. Line drive into left center field. Punto scores, and it's 9-4.
Well, a nice piece of hitting right there by Cabrera. He came into this game with a 6-game hitting streak, so he continues that hitting streak, picking up RBI number 68 on the year. Right off the end of the bat, lands in front of Meyer, and he gets it back in. Span stopping at second, and Nick Punto scoring for the second time in a ball game.
Joe Mauer to face Yibuta. The Royals have only one left-hander in their bullpen, and he hasn't exactly been a shutdown pitcher. Bale is their only lefty, and left-handed hitters are hitting almost 280 against him.
Yeah, they have another lefty, Dusty Hughes, but he threw on the side yesterday, and he's probably going to be available tomorrow, but not tonight.
And it's been a disadvantage in this series. Last night, a couple of situations in the middle innings where the Twins had their left-handers coming up through the middle of the lineup, and Trey Hillman could not go to a left-hander that early.
That's always been a problem here in Kansas City, though. You can't think of the last left-hander that they've had over a long period of time.
I can't think of any significant lefties out of their bullpen.
Was it Steve Mangori, I think? But we're going back way back. Truck said Al Hrabowski. What was that, back in the 40s?
He's almost as old as you, isn't he?
Almost.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Bauer fouls it away. Boy, this offense has been very good on the trip. 7, 8, 8 in the 3 games in Chicago, and now 9 in each of the first 2 in Kansas City. Not a bad time of year to be playing your best baseball of the season. And keep in mind that they're doing this without Justin Morneau, without Joe Crede. A couple of the games on this trip without Denard Span.
Well, they're playing as a team, and that's what that man would say right there, Ron Gardenhire. Everybody contributing. Everybody picking each other up.
Well, that's on the offensive side, but don't forget that they're also playing without 2 out of the 5 guys that were in their starting rotation. With Kevin Slowey and Glenn Perkins out, Francisco Liriano, who had been out, is back with the team and will start tomorrow. But you take a look at a ball club that's without their 4-hitter and probably their 6 or 7 hitter in Crede, without 2/5 of their starting rotation, and yet they're on the verge of winning for the 11th time in 12 nights and keeping the pressure on the first place Tigers.
Yeah, but the Tigers have gone through the same problems the Twins have as the White Sox have.
Bauer fouls it away.
It's not like the Twins are the only one that are trying to play with without some of their key players or pitchers. But the Twins are where they're at. 80 wins, 73 losses, first time all season long. They have been over, 7 games over 500.
They've all dealt with them, but the Twins are the only one that are playing their best without those guys.
Right.
The Tigers struggled when they were without theirs. Then they got some guys back and went on a roll.
Yeah, good point. That's your first good point here tonight.
And cross that off my bucket list too. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bauer takes low, and Span read it very well and will advance to third base.
Yeah, a great read right there. In spring training, Paul Molitor comes to spring training, and Paul was one of the best at this right here. Always be prepared in case that ball gets away from the catcher. It's that first step right there. That ball just getting away from Pena. The ball goes back toward the infield, and Span alertly scoots over to third.
Now let's see if Cabrera moves from first on this 3-2 pitch to Joe Mauer.
It'll be a wild pitch charged to Yibuta.
Cabrera does run. Mauer swings and hits one high and deep. Right center field. It is off the base of the wall. Span scores. Cabrera scores. A 2-run double for Mauer. The Twins lead 11-4.
Now Buta getting banged around here in the 8th inning. Joe Mauer with his 28th double got a pitch up, and boy did he hammer it. That ball first looked like it was going to leave the ballpark, but it hit the base of the fence. Solid swing by Joe, driving the ball to right center, and he picks up RBI number 91 and 92 on the year as Span and Cabrera score.
Second hit of the night for Mauer. And it forces Trey Hillman to go to his bullpen again. Yabuta will last only a third of an inning. And the Twins collect 4 hits and a walk against the Kansas City right-hander. Fans, tailgating is fun and affordable on Saturdays with the Our Family brand Saturday Tailgate Party presented by Fox Sports North. For one price, you get a ticket to the game, an invite to a pregame barbecue, a Twins cap, and alumni autographs. Visit twinsbaseball.com tonight or call 833-TWINS to join the Our Family brand's tailgate party 1 week from today for the final Saturday at the Dome. Denard Span has been the story tonight. He is the 4th Twin this season to drive in 6 or more runs in a game. He's knocked in a career-high half dozen, a 3-run triple in the 4th, 2-run single in the 6th, and a run-scoring single here in the 8th.
Boy, I tell you what, as a leadoff hitter, Span doing it all. Four hits, 6 RBIs. He's finally scored a run. We talk about, I listened to Roy Smalley and Ron Coomer talk about how Span is able to allow that ball to get deep into the strike zone, a lot like Joe Mauer, and then just at the last second, those quick wrists just hit that ball sharply. Here's Kyle Farnsworth, spent most of the season on a disabled list because of a right groin strain, activated from the disabled list on August 18th. Farnsworth making his 40th relief appearance, 1 win, 4 losses out of that bullpen, only 36 innings pitched. He has 39 strikeouts and 13 walks.
Jason Kubel looking for his first hit of the series. Hammers one foul. And I'm sure thinking that at any other ballpark, that one's right down the line for a double.
Farnsworth, one guy that Bob McClure and the Royals were excited about in spring training, that he has a lot of experience in the bullpen. He thought he would help that bullpen out, but injuries have kind of set him back a little bit this year, signing a 2-year contract with the Royals.
Low 1 ball, 1 strike. Mauer at second with 1 out. 4 runs in for Minnesota here in the 8th. And while the Tigers continue to pile it on in Chicago, the Twins trying to do the same here in Kansas City. Top 2 teams in the Central meet for 4 games Monday through Thursday in Detroit. If the Twins can hang on here, absolute worst case, they'd arrive in Detroit 3 games behind and will have accomplished what they talked about all year, all throughout the second half, about staying close enough to make those games matter.
Yeah, again, you cannot control what happens, between Chicago and Detroit. All you can do is control, what you're doing, right? A good fastball right there by Farnsworth. Up and in on Jason Kubel.
Swing and a miss. Kubel's out on strikes for the 2nd time tonight and the 4th time this weekend. Michael Kadire will bat.
Well, Farnsworth's had a good fastball in the upper 90s. He'll mix in a hard slider and then the fork ball, and I think that was a fork ball that Kubel swung through for the strikeout.
Kadire doubled off the wall in the 4th inning, narrowly missed home run number 31. Closing in on 90 RBI. Twins have not had 4 players with 90 RBI in any season.
Ever. Yep.
Justin Morneau already there with 100. Joe Mauer and Jason Kubel each picked up number 90 last night.
Yeah, the closest the Twins ever came was back in 1987 when they had Gaetti with 109, Puckett with 99, Herbeck with 90, and Tom Bernansky ended the season with 85.
He didn't have anybody to drive in. The guys in front of him had cleared the bases all season.
Oh, that got Kadire.
Well, he threw 98 under the chin of Kubel, and now 96 into the middle of the back of Michael Kadire.
Well, that fastball ran right in on Kadire. Take a look at Pena, the catcher. He wants it middle in, and that ball ran right into Kadire. Where did it hit him?
Ooh, tricep area.
I did that to Don Baylor one time, and the ball stuck. And then on his way to first, he tossed it back to me like, ha. It didn't even hurt him.
Was the ball dented?
Yeah, it was dented.
Well, if there was a guy who knew how to get hit, it was Don Baylor.
Yes, he did. Yes. I got him a couple times. By accident, of course.
Always. No balls, 2 strikes. 2 on, 2 out for Minnesota with Delman Young at the plate. Second time tonight that Minnesota has sent 9 men to the plate in an inning. They did it while scoring 5 in the 4th. And Young, the 9th man to bat here in an already 4-run 8th inning. Young out on strikes. Farnsworth strikes out 2 of the 3 men that he faces. But the Twins tag Yabuta for 4 in the 8th and lead by 7.
And I invite you again to stay tuned to Quest Twins Live featuring the Toyota postgame wrap. We'll talk about spanning the bases. How about Denard Span and his career high 6 RBI tonight? He has been spectacular in the last 2 games since returning and getting hit in the head with that pitch on Monday. We'll recap the AL Central race. Unfortunately, the Detroit Tigers have opened up a big lead on the Chicago White Sox, and we'll also discuss the bottom of the order tonight and their productivity. All that and more on Quest Twins Live following the ball game. Now for the call, the bottom of the 8th inning. Anthony LaPanta pitch hitting for Dick Bramer. Anthony, take it away.
1 for 1 as a pinch hitter so far.
So far, so good. Game's not over yet. Let's go.
Not.
Yeah, Span having a great night.
He slides to right field. Carlos Gomez now in center field for Minnesota. And Mayhe, who came into a much tighter spot in the bottom of the 7th, now with a nice 7-run cushion to start the 8th.
Yeah, able to get to 2 hitters that he was asked to get to end the 7th inning. Mayhe again, a former Kansas City Royal. Originally came up with the Boston Red Sox as an outfielder back in 1995 and then converted into a pitcher. He's made a great career out of pitching.
Well, any outfielder could be a pitcher. Now you try to make a pitcher an outfielder, that's a different story.
Yeah, I think there have not been, well, I mean, you can think of Ankiel was a pitcher, and now
that's
he's
true.
A very good hitter. That guy named Babe Ruth became a pretty good hitter after he started his career as a pitcher.
The Upper Midwest Regional Emmys are going on tonight in the Twin Cities at the Pantages Theater in downtown Minneapolis. And I'd like to pass along congratulations to our director tonight, Matt Gangle, who won an Upper Midwest Regional Emmy for outstanding directing his work on the Minnesota Twins broadcast and the Minnesota Wild broadcast.
Nice.
Congratulations to Matt.
Yes. Nice going, Matt. All our monitors go dead.
Matt's gone. He's going off to celebrate. We'll just stick on a wide shot for the rest of the night. Mayhe misses up and in.
Well, it looked like Mayhe right there. Had a little
There we
smile
are.
on his
Matt's
face.
gone. We're on this camera shot for the rest of the night, folks.
This is the way it used to be. Look, I can draw anywhere I want. Look at that. That's awesome. That ball went that way.
Bloomquist takes ball 2. Bloomquist 1 for 3. Mitch Meyer waits on deck. Tomorrow afternoon, Francisco Liriano for Minnesota. Zach Greinke for Kansas City. Lifted in the air to short right. Span in a few steps for the second out. Time now for our Mercedes-Benz E-Class attention assist of the game.
Well, let's take a look right here. This is a ground ball to Nick Punto. Remember Michael Kadire going to his right. It's up to the pitcher Baker to get over. Punto feels it. And there's the pitcher Baker becoming the first baseman. That off the bat of Mitch Meyer in the 3rd inning.
Meyer takes inside. He's 1 for 2 with a single, that ground ball, and then a walk. We talked earlier about tomorrow's Kansas City starter, Zach Greinke, and his candidacy for the American League Cy Young Award. This will be the first time the Twins have faced him. For whatever reason, with all the head-to-head matchups, Minnesota has missed Greinke all year. They will now see him twice in the final week. He's scheduled to pitch tomorrow and then again on Friday at the Metrodome.
Yeah, great numbers for Greinke. You can see the 229 strikeouts, second in the American League in strikeouts. The 2.08 earned run average, the best in the American League. And the lowest in baseball.
Sprinted from the gate so quickly this year. I mentioned earlier he won his first 6 starts. He was 8-1 by May 26th. Then struggled a bit. 4-7 through the middle part of the year before finishing strong. He's been very good as of late for Kansas City.
Well, yeah, he did not get a lot of run support, and that's why that 4-7 stretch that he went through.
outside. Boy, Mayhay missed in on 3 of the 4 pitches in that at bat. Meyer draws his second walk, and now Butler will be the hitter.
Well, longest outing so far for Mayhay as a Minnesota Twin. Bobby Keppel starting to loosen up for the Twins in the bullpen. Mayhay has gone an inning in the 3rd so far, relieving Scott Baker in the 7th. And nobody happier to see Baker out of the ballgame than this guy.
Comes in again here, and now I believe we're getting warnings issued. I wondered if there wasn't a little retaliation on Mayhay's mind after the Twins saw Kubel take one up under the chin, Kadair get hit in the back, and
well, this is where we've seen Ron Gardenhire get thrown out before, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets thrown out by Eric Cooper right here. This frustrates Ron Gardenhire more than anything, and there he goes. You know, if Mayhay was going to hit somebody, he would have hit probably Bloomquist, who he went up and in on, and then right there to Meyer, even though he's working them in, he kept busting them inside. Nobody got hit, and this is what Ron Gardenhire gets so upset about. Michael Kadair getting hit. Twins have had 2 guys hit. Now, when Kubel got hit, that just got his uniform. And then when Farnsworth hit Kadair, you would think if the Twins are going to retaliate, they would have hit somebody right off the get-go, but instead, Mayhay, you know, just working hard inside, and Gardy has to leave the ballgame.
Joe Mauer continuing the conversation with Cooper. Here's the pitch.
You see where Joe's setting up, and it's just a fastball in that just kind of rode in. It's almost like a sailor inside, and Eric Cooper saying, you know what, I'm warning both sides now. This is part of the game, Anthony, that I just wonder how many umpires really know the game of baseball. If they follow the game and know the little things that happen, that let the players control the game. Nobody's been hit for the Kansas City Royals.
And so many times you see it happen just like this, where somebody gets hit and the benches get warned, and Ron Gardenhire's point has always been, now my guys can't protect their own hitters because of what usually happens, and what we'll probably see, the first player that gets hit tomorrow, the warnings will be issued immediately, and then the players don't have that opportunity to
let the players control the ball game an eye for an eye. And if Mayhay was going to hit somebody, he would have done it long before throwing a pitch into Billy Butler. One thing you want to do as a pitcher is that's protect your hitters.
2-1 pitch, lined into right field for a base hit. Meyer around second. Meyer will be waved in. Butler coasts into second with a double, and it's 11-5.
Well, as I mentioned, Billy Butler very happy that Scott Baker is no longer in the ballgame. He's just 1 for 22 off of him. And what he does right here is just takes a pitch the other way. That's why he's a 300 hitter.
Ron Gardenhire had a long conversation with the media yesterday before the game about this very subject. For more on that, let's check in with Robbie.
You know, Anthony, I was in that meeting when Gardy was talking about that, and the original conversation stemmed from Sunday's game when Zach Greinke got tossed sitting in the dugout for yapping too much about a warning that was given, and the Royals went in tight on the guy. He said these warnings are his biggest pet peeve, just like you guys said earlier. He can't protect his players when warnings are consistently given by umpires.
And when the warning comes before somebody gets hit, was his point. He said, at least let my pitcher protect my hitters. He hit somebody, I think then it would end. Instead, we warned them so quickly that nobody is allowed that opportunity.
Oh, no. I mean, again, if the Twins wanted to retaliate, Mayhay would have gotten one of the hitters before Butler.
Mike Jacobs is the batter. 2 out in the inning. Butler leads from second, and the Twins still have a comfortable 6-run lead. There's a fly ball to left, right at Delman Young. He has it. The side is out. We go to the ninth. Gardy's in the clubhouse, and the Twins have a 6-run lead.
TNT Rapid Rewind. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered.
Minnesota 11, Kansas City 5 as we go to the ninth.
Beautiful little girl right there, a Twins fan. Victor Marte coming into the ball game. He worked in last night's ball game. A September call-up for the Kansas City Royals. Spent the whole season down in AAA Omaha.
The second consecutive inning. Brendan Harris is the leadoff man for Minnesota. Twins batted around in the 8th and scored 4 to break the game open. Harris, Tolbert, and Puto will hit here. A high fly ball into short center field. Second baseman Cayaspo is out and makes the catch.
Yeah, we saw Marte in last night's ball game. He faced 4 batters. He did give up a home run to Delmon Young in the 9th inning. For Delmon, his 9th home run of the year.
Tigers have already won tonight. They topped the White Sox 12-5 in Chicago. They're racing an early 5-0 White Sox lead. If the Twins hold on here, the deficit will remain 2 games in the Central, heading into tomorrow's respective series finales.
Yeah, there's the final right there. Tigers winning 12-5.
Tomorrow in Chicago, Edwin Jackson will go for the Tigers against Daniel Hudson for Chicago. And as we mentioned here, it's Francisco Liriano against Zach Greinke. Punto will bat with 2 out of the bases empty. Nick has 3 walks and a sacrifice bunt tonight. Scored 2 runs. Bottom 3 hitters in the Minnesota lineup have combined to score 6 runs tonight.
And have 6 hits. Excuse me, 5 hits.
Punto skies one into short center. And we go into the bottom of the 9th. Minnesota on top 11-5, trying to stay 2 games out in the Central. Span, a big night. 4 hits, 6 RBI.
Yeah, that a career high. Scott Baker, he worked the first 6 and a third innings. Ron Mayhay, an inning and 2/3. And now Bobby Keppel has to get the final 3 outs here. There you go, young lady. You are hereby circled. There's Keppel making his 32nd relief appearance. 0-1 out of the bullpen. ERA at 5.06. 48 innings pitched for Keppel in the 31 appearances. He has 20 walks with 29 strikeouts.
He'll face Callaspo, Pena, and Gordon. Callaspo takes inside. A home run and a double already tonight for the Royals second baseman. Quest Twins live following the game. Robbie will get a chance to visit with Denard Span. We'll look ahead at tomorrow's finale between Liriano and Greinke. Pac-10 football will follow. USC and Washington State coming up tonight here on Fox Sports North. Highlights of that Tigers win in Chicago. Plenty of fireworks for Detroit after they were down 5 early.
Oh, good. A Twins fan got that ball. Nice going.
Got stuck in his hair. Down and away.
Now Keppel, a fastball, sinking fastball slider pitcher. Once property of the Kansas City Royals after being released by the Mets in 2005. He signed by the Royals, played in their minor league system. The Royals let him go. Then he signed with the Rockies. Also spent time with the Marlins and their organization. Signed by the Twins in 2000 this year, or excuse me, in December of last year as a minor league free agent.
Keppel got him. Callaspo, one of the toughest hitters in the American League to strike out.
Oh, good fastball right there. Look at the run on this fastball. Good movement, working outer half of the plate. Keppel's done a lot better job over the last couple months of keeping the ball as far as not walks, not walking anybody. He's walked only 2 so far here in the month of September.
Chopper foul. Callaspo strikes out about once every 13 at bats. Third toughest to strike out in the American League, and the Twins have now got him on strikes twice in this series. Pena with a base hit in the left field, his second hit of the night.
Oh, good piece of hitting right there by Pena, just taking that pitch the other way. That's a Joe Mauer swing right there. Pena getting his second hit after the home run that followed Callaspo in the second inning. Lining that ball in the left field.
Scott Alger calling the shots for Minnesota. Ron Gardenhire was ejected after the benches were warned. Eric Cabrera throws one away into short right field. Kadire hustles after it. Pena will advance to third. It'll likely be an infield hit plus a throwing error. Charge to Cabrera.
Yeah, Cabrera just couldn't find a handle on the baseball right here. He's kind of pointing at Bobby Keppel saying, I'm sorry. He knew he should have gotten an out right here. He tries to backhand it. And right here you can see that ball, a little tough time getting it out of his glove. And when he does, he overshoots Punto at second. So an error on Cabrera. That's his 9th error as a Minnesota Twin.
They did not, or they did give it a base hit. So Gordon credit with an infield single, and the throwing error by Cabrera allows Pena to go to third. Strike 1 to Betancourt. Runners on the corners with one out, bottom of the ninth. Chop to third. Tolbert goes to second for one. No relay.
Well, Betancourt will get an RBI on that, even though the most important thing, the Twins get the second out. Pena scores for the second time in a ball game. And Gordon is retired at second base on the fielder's choice.
First pitch in for a strike. Anderson hitless, 0 for 3. Tigers have already won. Twins need this one to remain 2 back. Here's the 0-2 pitch from Keppel. Just missed inside. One ball, 2 strikes. Fouled on the third baseline. Baker went 6 1/3 tonight for Minnesota, and we talked about a night where you really would like to save some of the arms in the pen. They did that. The only 2 relievers Gardy has had to use tonight, Mayhay and Keppel. Guerrero got the night off. Mahari's a night off. Rauch a night off.
And most importantly, Joe Nathan got another night off.
Here's the 1-2. Tap foul. With Liriano going tomorrow, Rick Anderson said likely to keep him somewhere between 60 and 80 pitches. And it might be a day where you need innings out of several of those relief pitchers. Betancourt off of first base. Keppel's 1-2 pitch coming to Josh Anderson. Little looping fly ball into center. Easy for Gomez. And the Twins have made it 2 in a row over Kansas City and 5 in a row on this road trip.
And the Twins have won 11 of their last 12 ball games. And even though the Tigers won, the Twins needed to win, and they did here tonight.
Quest Twins Live coming up in a moment. We'll visit